Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's 5-minute video in honor of the upcoming 82nd anniversary of D-Day will be my favorite book on the topic of D-Day, Cornelius Ryan's The Longest Day. So a little background on Cornelius Ryan is he originally was a war correspondent and he flew over with a bombing mission on actual D-Day. 5 years later, when he was walking the beaches with fellow correspondents, he realized that the human spirit was not really being captured from all perspectives, that the histories of D-Day was already being recorded and he described as a clinical manner. The unique thing about this book and Ryan's method for researching this book is he teamed up with Reader's Digest. He placed advertisements in global newspapers asking a single question: where were you on June 6th, 1944? 3,000 responses came in, and that would be the start of a decade spent researching, verifying, and writing the book. What makes this unique is how he verified the data. So for every anecdote that was placed in the book, final published, he validated with two other sources, two witness sources, or via military logs. If he didn't have that validation, then it was not included in the book. As The Longest Day indicates, this is an account slightly before the day starts, and there's probably 100 pages of buildup just getting to the landings themselves. It switches perspectives from French civilians and the Allied forces coming in, and the generals on both sides, and the German forces, and little details like what was going on with Rommel and where he was, and the fact that he wasn't where people thought he was. And so the buildup continues, and once the landings start, we're transitioning back and forth between all of these various locations, getting the perspectives of the locals and the German forces, how they were reacting, what they were feeling and thinking. These are personal accounts in many cases. Ryan interviewed many of the folk in his writing. The book ends at the end of that first day, and so a 24-hour account with the build up, the actual day, and the end of that day is the major account. But it feels so much larger than that. When you're reading over this 24-hour period, it feels like weeks sometimes. There's so much detail going on that it doesn't even seem possible that this was a 24-hour period. So this is probably my highest recommended military history book related to D-Day. I really respect the way that he researched out the material and how well written it is. This book reads so well and had me captivated from the start. I couldn't put it down. I flew through this book. I personally enjoyed the insight that was into the lives of not only the German defenders and the fact that they were having a lot of the same thoughts and anxieties as the Allies were having, and whether they could pull off a victory or not, and where are they coming from, who's landing where, has the war started, all these questions in their mind going on the days leading up to that point. I also think that in terms of when this was written, it was written within, it took 10 years to write, but he started within 5 years of the actual D-Day landings, and he had face-to-face access with people who were there, on the ground, including German participants and French civilians, and all those interviews. And Collection Point was something that I don't think is replicable. Other writings that happened, decades later, in a lot of cases, didn't have access to that method. And then his validation process for what he brought into the book, I thought was very important, because it stands as one of the most genuine versions of D-Day that I think exists. So final note, top recommendation for me, especially if you're a D-Day fan. And I also want to take this moment to thank our service members, both active and in memoriam, for everything they've done and for their continued service. If you like this 5-minute video series, please subscribe, like. Thanks everyone for watching. Until next time, take care.